Hi there, this is Colleen from Keeping the Peace, and welcome back to another episode of Colleen Answers Your Questions. Today our question comes in the down bar of this same series, episode 55, where we were talking about which guns are safe to dry fire. The question comes from Lavender Lady. She's asked other great questions in the past, and she's actually traveled here and worked with me one day. She and her sister, that was a real blessing to meet her, really fun. Okay, she says, and I'm gonna talk about the last half of her comment because the first half was about something different. So the question starts halfway down. It says, I also want to mention something from a previous episode to get feedback from you or other readers. After having gotten a few bad slide bites from trying to rack my slide, as in bloody slide bites, I decided to start devoting this month of May to practicing the motion, building coordination, and building hand strength for both racking and locking the slide. This probably sounds wimpy, but I always start out a practice session with a glove on my right hand. I'm a left-handed shooter. That offers good grip. This allows me to practice with more confidence and without the fear of getting my right index caught in the slide, which is what has happened, and I'm less tentative this way. After about 10 tries, I take the glove off and practice more. I tried the technique on your video, of putting I tried the technique on your video of putting my hand on the rear part of a slide with the heel of my hand on one side, fingers on the other. This poses a problem because the pinky side of my hand then partially or completely covers the ejection port. So to rack the slide, I've gone back to the slingshot method, and to lock it, I'm using your technique from your video on locking the slide to the rear. I'll post that here if you haven't seen that. It's an old video. That combination seems to be working right now, but I certainly don't want to develop bad habits. I found an article online and can post the link here to it if you would like. Sorry to take up so much space, and thanks for all your hard work for all of us out here who need instruction. It's the next best thing to having you right here beside me offering suggestions, correction, and encouragement. God bless. God bless you as well, and thank you for that. Okay, so she's a left-handed shooter. We're going to use my CP938. We're empty because I knew we were getting ready to do this. Okay, so she's a left-handed shooter, and when she racks her slide, she's probably doing it something like this, or was, because as far as I can tell, that would be the only way your index finger would get caught, is if you were way up forward. And then she says that she tried this method, but part of her hand was covering up the slide. So I have a very short distance here. It's far bigger than the palm of my hand, but what I like to do is just scoot the palm back. So if I just put my palm on here, yes, I'm definitely covering part of the ejection port. But if I take that palm and just scoot it so that it's rearward of the ejection port, that works fine. It only gives me 3 fingers to grab, but that's plenty. Now, the trick to make sure that you don't get pinched is letting go. What people tend to do is they push the gun forward, but then they ride it slightly before they let go, and that's when you get pinched. If you have ever been pinched between the slide and your barrel, okay, which is what that is there, your barrel. If you've ever been pinched there, it really, really hurts. And if you're alone, you feel like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get my hand out of this? Because one of your hands is stuck in the gun and you only have one left. So it's a really complicated position to find yourself in. So what you want to do is when you place the palm of your hand on the slide, scoot it rearward until it is not blocking the ejection port. That might leave you 2 fingers, 3 fingers, but that should be sufficient. Still keep your fingers together just because that's a stronger position. You're pushing forward with your strong hand and then letting go. This is key, letting go. Do not allow your support hand to still be gripping the slide as it's traveling forward. There should be no forward motion of the slide with your hand still on it. That's key. That is definitely how you're getting pinched. It has to be. It's the only way I can imagine. And I've seen it happen to a whole bunch of people. I've seen a lot of bloody slide bites because of that. Also, a lot of stress because you're stuck inside your gun and you can't get out. That's really bad, okay? Now, do I recommend going to the slingshot method, which if you've not seen that, that's what that is. No, I don't recommend going to that simply because it's going to make your life really complicated when you start doing malfunction clearances because you have an inconsistency. When you do reloads, you're going to be a lot less efficient because you'll be putting in a magazine, going all the way over here, racking, and then going all the way over here to get your grip back. That's really inefficient in comparison to this, and that. So I hope that that makes sense. So I would probably backpedal and get away from the slingshot method, go back to this method, and just as you put your hand on, your tendency is to put your hand on with the thumb at the back of the slide. This on small guns will definitely make you cover the ejection port. Just take that and scooch it. So instead of using the back of the slide as your reference point for your hand, use the back of the ejection port, okay? Now, do I recommend practicing with a glove? I've had shooters come to me who have already been using gloves, and I generally take them out of that glove just like that. The reason why is because if you practice with it, it's going to become a crutch for you and make it more difficult in a real world situation where you have to handle your gun without the glove. Because I can guarantee when a dude attacks you, it's not going to be when you have your gloves on. Well, I mean, I guess in the winter it could be winter gloves, which poses a whole nother problem because it's really hard to manipulate your gun in winter gloves. That's another video. But I would probably backpedal out of the slingshot method and backpedal out of the glove, because yes, I do think they're going to cause you problems down the road. Because the glove gives you an unrealistic expectation of how it's going to feel to handle the gun. And I can understand why you're doing it, because I can understand you don't want to be slide bitten. But I can guarantee that if you use this as your reference point, put the, this side of your hand here rather than using this as a reference. So let me turn this around. Okay. Woo, where am I? It's hard in a viewfinder. Okay, so this is what people naturally do, is they use this and this as a reference point. Instead of doing that, use this side of your hand and this side of the ejection port as your reference point, okay? Now, let go. Do not hold on. So, gun goes forward, hand totally lets go. Let me try that again because I'm not in the viewfinder. Sorry, I'm backwards trying to look at this. Reference point here, gun goes forward, let go. In fact, one of the people that taught me to do this, I'm going to switch back to my dominant hand here. One of the people that taught me, in the beginning, I was a ride the slide forward type of person. I was doing that naturally because I had this internal fear of hurting my gun, so I wanted to be gentle with it. Guarantee you're not going to break this gun by racking that slide. And I tell my students this in almost every lesson with a newbie. If you can break the slide by racking it, I'll buy you a new gun and I'll never have to buy somebody a gun, because you're not going to do it. You're not going to break the gun by racking the slide. Manhandle that thing, that's what I call it too, because we're a little more gentle than most women are a little more gentle than most men. I'm not going to completely generalize there, but because I'll get flack for it in the comments, but it's true. Most women are a little more gentle than most men. And most men in the beginning are also gentle with their guns, simply because there's this weird feeling of, I just dropped $700 on this thing, I really don't want to break it, okay? But you're not going to break it by racking it. All right, so the method that I was taught to train me out of this desire to be easy with the slide was to let that support hand move to the chest. So the hand drives forward, and go ahead and let that support hand move to the chest as you rack it. That ensures that you will not ride it forward. Nothing can possibly get pinched that way. So here's your strong hand, okay? So drive forward, let go. Go ahead and let that hand completely let go. Let me know, Lavender Lady, how that works out in the down bar below. I hope that's helpful. How about you guys? How have you been trained to rack the slide? Do you have a problem with being bitten in the slide? Your pinky side finger, or any fingers at all? Do you use this method that I'm talking about to rack your slide, or do you use something completely different? I'm always interested to hear what you guys have to say, because I love learning from you guys. If you like the Colleene Answers Questions series and you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please recommend it to your friends who you think might need it or might be interested. I appreciate you all watching, and I'll see you in the next one.